Hello. Hi. Say hi to.
What's up, Mickey Pizza?
Hi.
What's up, man? What you doing, Mickey Pizza?
Can you hear? Oh, I got my earphones in. Can you hear? I hit say what's up.
Hi.
Say
What's up, Mickey
Hi.
Pizza?
Okay, we got a lot to get to today, so we're gonna, dispense with some of the pleasantries because we got a lot to cover today. There's a lot of shit going on here today. It's happening. It's happening right now. My name is Josh. I occasionally go by the moniker of Birdman. Really, only here, but okay, fair enough. We're here now. We're all here together in the same space. So, my name is Josh. I go by Birdman. I am joined by Gregory. Gregory, how are you today?
Doing all right. I too only am called Star Child here.
That's, I think, fair. That this is our secret society. And
That's why you did not turn around when I saw you the other day in the street.
I know, right?
Right.
I want to change
No
that.
kidding.
Awkward.
Now that you made me think about that, I want to change that.
He tried to pretend like he don't know you. Don't act like you
Right?
don't know me.
The
Don't
fuck?
act like you don't know me.
All right. I want to
Come
change
on,
that.
man. Gawking Street. Yes, it's our secret society that we broadcast across the world and at least across the nation.
Crushing that secret part.
So yeah, exactly. To all 20 of you who are out there listening, thank God for the 20 of you who are out there listening. We love you. We
love
absolutely
you.
love you to death. We love you to death. So we're happy with that. Also, so yes, Star Child. We are. I'm also joined by Rashawn, who goes by the moniker of 3 of Clubs. How you doing today?
What it do? How do you do? Happy to be with all of you. And sad truth, no one calls me anything. So yeah, I'll go with that.
All right. We call you brother. We love you. We call you 3 of Clubs. We call you hey you sometimes when we.
I stopped saying Arshawn because you really
Thank
weren't
you.
feeling it.
Nope.
And nope, not feeling it.
Nope.
So we could pivot to 3 of Clubs. We could pivot.
Thanks.
I think so.
We could
I
pivot.
mean, I kind of liked Darshan, but the fact is,
I'm
it's
glad you
all
did.
about the intended target. And I'll tell you right now, people call me Fink. People call me Finky. I'm cool with it. You call me Joshy, I'm not talking to you. So that shit.
Put a piece of steel in that motherfucker.
I would like to
Right where
blame.
he stands.
Yeah,
Cut.
you just
him.
don't do that. I'm not down with that at all.
Don't do that. Don't
No,
do that.
don't do that. No,
Like I am
like I say.
visibly uncomfortable every time you bring that up.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I'm
true.
cool. So
It's true. He's shaking.
But being the 3 of Clubs here is not feeling that. I'm good with that. You
I
gotta
blame-
respect the
I
person.
blame the first superhero that I've ever met. It was my mom, who I called her the first superhero I've ever met because one time I saw her washing a giant glass pane window at the facility she was working at and part of my daycare, and I saw her go through it, completely through the window, the whole thing broke and shattered in and around her.
Yeesh.
She got up and she had like 0 blood coming from that situation. At that
Damn.
point, being 4 years old and watching, I'm like, okay, so clearly my mom is Wonder Woman, and I'm not gonna really push this woman that much further because her spankings have been, moving up a notch, and I just saw her go through a window with 0 scratches, so I'm probably not gonna push it too far on the spanking.
Jeez.
Fun update to that I did. So past that, but she also was very, very strict about my name for I don't know, weird reasons, probably because she named me. So
Mm.
a lifetime that definitely gets you to the point where you're not feeling things like Arshawn.
In all fairness to your beloved mother, she named you and she carried you for 9 months and then gave birth to you. So yeah,
I
I'm
did
gonna-
not do any of those things.
right. I'm gonna
didn't.
To be fair, me
defer.
either.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
right?
defer. And then the window just caps it, right? I can just
Yeah.
almost tell her, look at it like, don't you dare cut me. Don't you even think about that. Right? I know what you're thinking.
It wouldn't be a TSG episode if I didn't tell Rashawn Smith's story. So when I was about the same age, I also hated my name for a lot of different reasons. I was in a Peter Pan phase, really wanted to go by Peter. It was one of the few Sundays of my life that I was actually in Sunday school. And I figured that was my time to try to pull this off as if that was some dastardly escape plan. So I told the Sunday school teacher who I was, Peter Smith. She was like, "Oh, cool. Welcome to the class, Peter Smith." Had a lovely Sunday school Sunday afternoon. It was great. We played. We learned about parts of the Bible. We colored. It was awesome. And then when my mom came in, I turned my back because I kind of knew what was coming even at that age, but I was going to ride that wave anyway. Because again, like I said, did not actually fall through with my whole I'm going to be scared of this woman. So I decided that I'm going to push it. I turned my back, act like I couldn't see her. And I could hear the teacher saying, "Oh, hi, how are you? Who are you here to pick up?" And my mom's like, "Oh, that lovely little boy over there who's turning his back to me." And she's like, "Oh, Peter, he had such a great time on." My mom's like, "Oh, wait, sorry. I'm sorry. Did you say Peter?" Yes,
What was
Peter. I proceed to listen to my mom for 5 minutes, go back and forth with this woman. Now, let me explain something to the viewers who aren't associated, related, or in a relationship with a Black mother. Don't ever. I mean, all mothers, you're running right in the line. But let me tell you right now, at least from a personal perspective, you're in trouble if you make your mom upset across all races and heritage. You are in a whole new world when you have your mom talking to someone, especially let's say of the African American or the Black heritage, because I'm willing to bet Greg has some family members that could definitely understand where I'm coming from. Hell, Josh is not at me. I feel like he would too. I think this is actually more, I think about a very color blind situation. Do not make your mother of any background or heritage or whatever have to explain to someone else who you are, what your name is, and then make it go for 5 more minutes. Because I got to tell you, that ride home, I wanted everything but my name to be Rashawn, because the hellfire that was coming at me. You know you're in trouble at the age of 4 when you're on the way home. You know you're in trouble, but no one's saying a word in the car. It's just like silence. So yeah, I love my name.
All right. Well, we'll keep it. We're good with that, and we're good with 3 clubs as your official secret society nickname.
You have a lot of nicknames.
Couple of quick updates. Montana, they officially banned TikTok. So that happened. That vote went through. And just to make clear to the listening audience, since we are here in Massachusetts, not to be outdone, we banned Telegram, and we've actually made everybody an honorary member of the LGBTQ community, because that's just how we roll. Like, we're Massachusetts. We're not gonna be outdone. Like, that's how it is. All right. We're gonna go absolutely 1 for 1, tit for tat.
In your face, San Francisco.
I'm glad we closed that Telegram loop, because that was getting out of control.
That's it, you know.
Yeah. I heard Vine's next.
Vine, yeah, that's gone. And Parlor, right? We'll outlaw Parlor next.
I believe there are certain neighborhoods in Cambridge where you have to check into your MySpace once a month in order to get tax credits.
That tracks. That totally tracks. That scans, but so that's happening, and we're here. This is
check out my custom page.
This is 2023. Yeah, who was the guy who was everybody's friend on MySpace? Who was that? Tom. Yes. Tom is still beloved in Cambridge. And then, okay, though, Rashawn.
Not a fan of your page, though. He doesn't like your custom page.
Fuck that guy. Rashawn, I gotta come back to you. You're in trouble, kind of like you were with your mama.
Sweet.
I gotta tell you.
Let Peter know what's going on.
All right, so Peter. So
Peter's
the other night, I'm tucking the kids into bed. And
Gotcha.
maybe I'm feeling pretty good. You know, maybe we're on that evening high. It could have happened. Maybe it's a possibility. Maybe it's what helps me go to sleep. I don't know. Anyway, that being put aside, my wife, while snuggling our, what I think it was Gabriel, our youngest child, says, "Hey, did you hear about Fast and Furious this weekend?
Oh god.
It made like 39 million domestically and like 300 million across the world." I said, "Oh man, that's funny as hell." Because Rashawn on the show has a standing feud with Vin Diesel. She goes, "Oh, does he now?" that's the first response. I did not know my wife was counsel for Vin Diesel until this moment.
Oh damn.
All right, shit.
Then she proceeds to say, "Yeah, so I got 3 words for Rashawn. Okay,
Oh shit.
I am Groot." That's her official response. And I'm like, "Oh shit, she's right." Like this movie, like Fast and Furious just grossed 300 million worldwide. And Guardians of the Galaxy has been given, has been credited with, quote, saving Marvel.
That Marvel had to get saved again.
I guess I get yet again. Who knows? But yes. So she said. So he thinks he can do better, huh? So
I don't know. Yes, I do believe Vin can do better. I don't think I can do better than him. I think Vincent, if we will, if we're being formal, could do much better.
Well, I don't know. Okay, how about this? I mean, of all of the ebbs and flows of a average movie star's career, I mean, he's had more questionable roles, but I mean, it's no question dude's crushing it right now.
Questionable roles. I would argue he's had the same role throughout multiple movies. Only movie I've seen him do a different
versions of bro. Yeah,
true.
Tree bro.
The only time I've ever seen
bro.
him do a different character, and this is the reason why I will die on this hill for Vin Diesel. I'm doing this for Vin Diesel. Tell Mrs. Fink and all the other sycophants for Vin that I am doing this for him because I believe in him, because Sergeant Capasso, wherever the hell his name is, and whatchamacallit, Saving Private Ryan,
Soldier Bro.
Yes,
kind of, but he only had like 12 minutes of total screen time, and he absolutely owned it. He created a character. He flushed it out. He did so well. It's like this. If this is how this guy is starting, this ex-rapper breakdancer, if this is how he's going, he's going to have a great career. He's going to really get into some awesome roles. And he decides he's going to be, to Greg's point, the bro, I guess, which fine, he's making money. But if he wants to act and he wants to get credit for that, he better start stepping up to at least Dave Bautista levels. I mean, that's the point.
Well, I mean, for the longest time, I thought he was Drake. So I really don't have much of an opinion on this. But I will say, between Tree Bro, Robot Bro, Car Bro, Wall Street Bro, Soldier Bro, and then Space Bro. Yeah. I mean, that's covering a lot of different kinds of bros.
He's got it there, Yeah. And just to make this
Chris Pratt
clear,
does it better.
Just to make this clear, my wife, Mrs. Fink, made it abundantly clear that he was still on the top 10 list. So there you go. Which I don't think any of us could claim that, and I'm married to her, for Christ's sake. So I don't
top
think
10 list of what?
Of celebrity crushes. That's that type of thing.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay.
All right. We'll keep it. We'll keep it clean.
To be fair, apparently it looks like the first man. So I guess.
All right. I don't know, but that shit. And when it comes to smashing the box office in one weekend with 2 different roles, one of which you literally only say 3 words in the entire time, I got to give her some points there. And the other being the 10th iteration of a film that is just somehow we get caper film and cars, right? How could you lose with that? Like, we're going to steal a lot of money and we're going to drive really fast, really fucking cool cars. How do you lose with that formula?
Well, what kind of pissing contest do you think was happening on the set of Guardians of the Galaxy? Because on one side, you got Pratt, who can literally take a shit and he makes $100 million domestically, and then 200
he's
million
another one
global. That's what I'm saying. So you got Chris Pratt on one side of the set, you got Diesel on the other. Both of them just making money hand over fist for zero talent whatsoever. And then sitting across from them, making money, decent amount, but also looking at them like, both of you guys do not know how to act. And I just started. It's fucking Dave Bautista. Like, that has to be the weirdest set. And then you got like Stallone just walking by like, you guys are idiots. You know, like shit like that.
Don't forget Bradley Cooper.
I mean, Batista, I mean, he's breaking the mold for I mean, we're kind of on comic books, right? But he's breaking the mold for
you can argue
professional wrestlers turned actor.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So I mean, he's kind of in a different category than, you know, Chris Pratt, who's just like, look at me, I smile. And Vin Diesel,
and I love Jesus.
Like, look at me, I grunt.
Don't forget, I love Jesus.
You love straight Jesus.
Straight Jesus.
You don't like that Jesus that's here for everyone. No.
White,
oh yeah,
white
he's a Jesus
straight
freak,
Jesus.
Yeah.
He likes white biker, straight hair, blowing in the wind. Jesus, that's the
capitalist Jesus,
capitalist
right? Because
Jesus.
that Jesus that said, "Give all your money to the poor." Fuck that guy. Because
he likes the Jesus I was wearing a jean jacket vest.
That shit.
Jesus never said that. Jesus never said that. He never said that.
Never said give all your money to the poor. Come on. All right. Well,
he never said that.
All right.
Said they were so basic.
All I'm saying is I've delivered the official message to Rashawn from my wife, which may have been funnier when I was high. I'm just saying it was really cracking me up at the time. But
yeah, it's funny for you. It's frightening for me.
You think I want that smoke? As it should be. And listen, I'm equally frightened, but I was also relieved because it was pointing towards you. So that's okay.
Yeah, I would be too. See, our listeners don't understand that we're not being hyperbolic when we're talking about being a little afraid of Twyla Fink, in the sense that this is an individual who will laugh, have a good time. Lovely individual. I'm saying that from the bottom of my heart. Twyla also is an individual that is like someone who you can almost argue meant to be a guardian, because she can shoot you a look from across the room while you're laughing and not paying attention. But then if you catch that look, it's like, yeah, I am done with all this conversation. I don't want any of this anymore.
I was gonna say, I too am not afraid of Twyla Fink, but she is definitely one of those friends of mine, because I like to party with my friends, so I'll be like, come on, one more drink, or come on, let's go to one more place. I don't do that with Twyla. Like, no. I just know it's not gonna happen.
No,
so
no,
I just don't try. Yeah, it's like everybody, one more drink. Twyla, okay.
I've witnessed this. Yeah. I just want to say Greg is speaking 100%.
It's not going to happen, which is totally fine. But yeah, Greg, usually I can like get my friends to hang out more. But if Twyla's just like, no, then I just, it's fine. Yeah.
Meanwhile, the only person nice to me at Greg's house is Kim, because Greg always looks at me like, why are you still here? And I'm like, I literally just parked. And he's like, yeah, I know.
That was my cat. And I was like, may he rest in peace. But you know,
I will just say, uncoincidentally, we're probably all going as Guardians of the Galaxy for this Halloween. So, and I've got my wife committed to Gamora, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, so that's appropriate, right?
Nice.
Should mess you up. So there's no
just put me on the phone, put me on the phone, have the speaker on, and I'll just be Kurt Russell's character. Just walk
awesome.
around,
Ego. Nice.
I'll just randomly chime in.
I like it. A little
You're
ego.
My son.
All right. Yes. There you go.
Watch overboard.
But of course, this does bring us to our subject, as we always do, because we're just so good at this transition thing. It brings us to our subject today. It's another showdown episode. It's another one that we've been waiting for. It's another one that had to happen. We had to have the two giants of an industry. Let's get ready to rumble. The two giants of the industry facing off one another in this corner.
Image Comics.
Going back all the way to the early 1900s. In its earliest iterations, we have DC, otherwise known as Detective Comics.
Not District of Columbia.
Not District of Columbia, no. And in this corner, wearing the blue trunks, we have the upstart that goes back to the 40s, granted, but really takes
Plucky.
off in the 60s. Really takes off in the 60s. None other than Marvel, which is, of course, nowadays the name. You don't even have to say that, right? You just know when you talk comics, you are talking Marvel. But we decided, though I admittedly kind of pushed this subject, we definitely wanted to finally do that showdown between Marvel and DC, right? Those two giants of the comic book industry. Now,
Is that what we're calling this? A showdown?
I got yes, because I call it that last time we did this between Star Wars and Star Trek. It didn't turn out to be as much the showdown, but that's
it's gonna be more like an aggressive head nod from across the street. Like, there goes that motherfucker. Yeah.
It was Showdown E.
It was Showdown E. Yes, yeah. Showdown-esque.
Showdown-esque.
This is definitely a sup. What's sup, kid? Sup. All right, going on there without that. But all right, since I put this on the table, I'm going to take my 10 minutes as I step up. Now, I want to take a moment to preface this by saying when I first started reading comics, I was a Marvel guy. There's no two ways about it. So we're going to get back to that. I just have to give the nod to DC because a nod of respect, because in the end, DC set up the quintessential superhero in that sense. And that is the one we've talked about on this show. We've been here, we've been over it. But the fact is, DC is the house that Batman built. I don't care. You can talk about Action Comics all you want. Yes, I understand. It's got Superman on the cover. When you think DC, you definitely think about Superman. Truth, justice, the American way. Wow, that's a lot to unpack right there.
It's intense, yeah.
That. I was just listening to a podcast earlier today that was talking about United Fruit in Central America. So, truth, justice, the American way. It's got some interesting dynamics going on there. But nevertheless, yes, you think Superman, but comes down to it, Bob Kane's, I guess he gets the primary credit for inventing Batman as such, or writing Batman. Mm-hmm. He gives us that everyman. Yes, okay, he's got $1 billion. Started off as $1 million. We inflated. It's probably by the time my kids are really reading Batman, he'll be a trillionaire. I understand. But there's just that idea that resonates in a young boy's heart, that if he was just born in just the right place and saw his parents brutally murdered in front of him, that he could become a warrior for truth, for justice, and somehow, given enough time, he could figure out every situation. Now, I don't know, like, if Superman truly does go crazy and decides to kill him, is a tenth of a second enough of a time to game that out? Does he have enough time to think this out in advance? Mm-hmm. Arguable, but okay, we'll kind of keep moving on from that. All right, but DC, if I'm really looking at it, represents the establishment, right? DC is your parents. DC is the one telling you, do your homework, wash behind your ears, get to school on time, keep your shit together, right? Get to your job, work your slide ruler, contribute to your 401k, buy your starter home, get it all together, because that's how it works in America, right? You show up to work, even their most edgy character, Batman, what's he doing? He's still trying to impress the police, right? Even though they hate his ass. They really do, right? But he's still kind of a pig suck. He's really went there. He's trying to ingratiate himself. He's got Commissioner. Eventually, he gets his buddy all the way up to Commissioner, who will send the light up in the sky, and so they can, I don't know, sublet this out. It's kind of like police subcontracting. Like, you know what? It's a really rough night, Batman. So I'm going to throw up that bat signal, and the boys and I are going to kind of take a powder down at the donut shop, and why don't you just clean up the streets for tonight?
How many speeding tickets do you think he got called to?
Seriously.
Jaywalking again.
Jaywalking again. Boom, 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 right? He don't give a fuck about civil rights. He don't read you your Miranda. He just batarangs you and hangs your ass up. So even in their darkest edgiest character, they're still the man. So, yeah, as much as I like it, I respect it. I understand it's a burgeoning industry, and they've come a long way, and they've done a lot of edgy stuff in their own right. DC, you're still taking the backseat to Marvel, right? Marvel, even from its inception, but certainly when Stan Lee takes over, and then the other writers and all of the other comedic influences take over, and all the other deeper, darker influences take over. Marvel is rebellion, right? Marvel really comes of age in the 60s. It comes of age in the hippie movement. It comes of age of, I don't want that 9 to 5. I'm not going to show up and work for the military industrial complex. Right? I am a rebel. I'm a hippie. I don't want what you want, Dad. I didn't want that. See, my favorite characters that have yet to be done really correctly, maybe we can bring them into the fold in the official MCU, but they were sitting there, the X-Men, right? I went to Charles Xavier School. Allow me to explain this for a second. I went to a hippy-dippy progressive school that had no grades, no requirements, and absolutely was completely run by the students, all the way down to the rules and laws therein of a true experiment in democracy. That is where I came from, okay? That is Charles Xavier School for Gifted Children. Oh, none of us had the powers we all wanted to. We all wanted to be Wolverine.
I was gonna say, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we all wanted to be Wolverine. Maybe I would have even settled for Cyclops. I'll be honest. I mean, I would have taken Cyclops on any given weekend. Certainly would have gone for Colossus. I mean, what teenage boy doesn't want to be that?
He's got laser eyes.
Yeah, big metal, strong man going in there on the Colossus end of things. But
I was good.
That it resonated with me. Even the Avengers, like you've got Xavier's fine, all that. The team ups they had were just so much cooler and so much more interesting. You've got Tony Stark, who's an alcoholic. Like they don't have any alcohol. They didn't have any alcoholics in DC, not until later in the 80s. When
you're not talking about X-Men anymore.
Well, yes, I'm moving on to Avengers right now. You got Tony Stark. Just the depth of character, just the idea, right? And Stark was that, right? He was the billionaire who still said "fuck you" to the man, or tried to in his own way. When his own way couldn't be the same as his dad, had to try and strike out on his own, and has to go toe to toe with his own demons, right? They had depth of characters. They had black characters. They had Jewish characters. Kitty Pryde is, in fact, who is Shadow Cat, her particular individual power, going back to the X-Men. She could phase through walls. She was, in fact, Jewish. Magneto, we've also brought that up, which, coincidentally,
easy.
Elon Musk. No, I'm not going easy on that motherfucker. Elon Musk brings up George Soros in a tweet as Magneto. Interesting. Also, as a also a Jewish Holocaust survivor. Funny that but even in their villain right away, I've mentioned Magneto in past shows, right? Very interesting villain, right? There's a sympathy for him. Perhaps the idea of taking it out against all of humanity going too far. However, as a motivation for a villain, a man who's lived through the Holocaust, who then sees the establishment saying, we want to categorize people, we want to file people, and we want to make sure we know where they are at any given moment, I can sort of understand why that man shows hesitancy towards that concept, because he's saying, hey, I lived through that shit before. They gave us Black Panther. They gave us a proud nation in there, and a hero to know that still resonates and goes on, that a lot of people want to be like. At least they, maybe they didn't get it right every single time, but at least it felt like they were trying. Hell, even the Silver Surfer, right? A smaller, somewhat lesser known label, but still a fan favorite. One they've fucked up and haven't quite done right yet. So hopefully the newer, hopefully now they've got all the properties under their belt, and Disney has, absorbed them all into the maw. Maybe he could be done, but
like maw.
maw. But right. this is all saying this coming off of seeing Guardians of the Galaxy this weekend, a lesser known, smaller label that through the Marvel Cinematic Universe has become a beloved franchise, right? I love that franchise. I love all three of those movies. They were fun. They're a good time. Absolutely adore the soundtrack, right? In my heart of hearts, if I could choose to be a Marvel superhero, I want to be Wolverine, or sometimes I want to be Captain America. Sometimes I want to be Tony Stark, all of them. But the one I am that I can't help being is Star-Lord. At least once again, since we were talking about Chris Pratt's version of him.
I was going to say Rocket Raccoon, but whatever.
That's my youngest. That's Gabe. He was up here earlier, so Gabe is 100% Rocket. Right? He absolutely owns that shit 110%. But that's why, try though I may, I try my best to give the DC the credit it deserves, because it really is the first and it establishes everything when it comes to perfecting the art of what a comic book can do and what it can show. I still end up giving it to Marvel every single time. So I'll turn it back over to the panel and see what you guys think.
Well, you're effing wrong, because DC, the house who DC is built under, one word, one name, Martha. Martha is the house DC is built upon.
Oh boy.
And there's a whole movie proving me right. So y'all can go ahead and talk about it, but I already have a movie underneath my theory.
Oh, well, it's kind of, well, Greg, Greg, thoughts before I turn it back over to Rashawn here? Before, yeah, I think that was that record scratch and the cat and then the pitcher breaks.
I mean, that's fine. There's no question about not close enough to my mic. Yeah, no question about it. I think that's a good appraisal of one part of Marvel. And let's be honest, it's a hit. There's just nothing to say about it. It's a fucking hit. The Marvel movies. I definitely agree with Guardians of the Galaxy, because they were pretty, I want to say that they weren't popular. Like, they were definitely popular, but you wouldn't call them like A-listers. You know what I'm saying? Like, they wouldn't be, your average person on the street wouldn't know who those characters are, whereas they would probably know, Spider-Man, Captain America, and so on.
I mean, and the fact that
Factor, and that what's that?
I mean, I'm with you. I'm like, shit, can I get an X Factor movie in this bitch?
Right.
Okay. X Factor.
The fact that
they get X-Force?
They turned these, B-leaguers into like some of the most entertaining movies, and I think that's what they did. They focused on
I was gonna say,
making it entertaining, and it was a hit. Yeah.
Well,
I fucking hate those. I hate Guardians of the Galaxies. I thought the first one was all right. I thought the second one absolutely sucked. I think a lot of people are just getting ginned up on nostalgic feelings, and when they watch it a few more times, I think it kind of lands a little bit differently. But that's me. That's just my little opinion. Don't worry about me. Y'all enjoy it. I hope you do.
Don't yuck my endorphins, right? My serotonin uptake. Okay, that's all I got, and it's always mine. I don't even have to go see a dealer for that and sit in a parking lot and wait for him.
I mean, look, if someone's gonna be critical about that series and break it down to its purest form, a la like whatchamacallit, what's our favorite series on Pitch Meeting? Like, if someone were breaking down, then basically Guardians of the Galaxy series so far has been, let's take feel-good songs that you basically grew up listening to in other movies and during other moments, so it gives you that nice little hit. And then we have Chris Pratt being a goof. That's it. So basically Andy from Parks and Rec.
And throw in a talking raccoon. Done.
Throwing a talking raccoon,
who happens to be a much better voice actor than we've ever given him credit for, and someone who probably should give. Actually, sounds like he did give him some feedback and advice. Bradley Cooper.
Yeah.
No.
Bradley Cooper is awesome. I mean, as Rocket, I for some reason missed he was Rocket for years, and
I think that needs to be. I'm not even a Bradley Cooper fan. I kind of think he's overrated in a lot of different ways. I still think it's weird that no one gives him the credit that he should get for Rocket Raccoon. I mean, like, to your point, You know the guy, you know the actor, you know his credentials, and even you got caught off guard that was him. That to me is a really good job.
No, that's fantastic. All right, well, with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rashawn here. Rashawn is going up in the second spot here today to handle the showdown. Let's get ready to rumble. Rashawn, give us your 10 minutes of fame on DC versus Marvel.
Here you go. I got the middle spot. I'm basically the halftime entertainment. So y'all go ahead and get your refreshments. Go ahead and get that bathroom breakout. Go ahead.
There might be a wardrobe malfunction though. Let's not forget that. Come on.
Maybe, but it basically, if I can even get to the level of being on unicycle and tossing teacups from one hand to the other, then we'll stick there. I want to paint people a picture to go into my side of this situation. Or there's three sides. We're a triangle. All right, so my side of this conversation. So imagine this, right? You just had a long ass day. It's a Friday too, right? So you're expecting to get home early. You cleared out your calendar after, let's say you're a 9 to 5er, but you cleared out your calendar from like 2 o'clock on early in the week. You knew going into that Friday that it was most likely going to be a 9 to 2. Solid freaking Friday, right? Like we're going to start the weekend. Maybe it's a payday Friday too. This is a kick-ass Friday. And let's go ahead and even make it better. It's the type of Friday where the whole week was a shitty weather week. Shout out to the people on the sides of the country, like East Coast and upper West Coast, or frankly, West Coast. You know what I'm talking about. You have those weeks where it's just like absolute get hammered, right? Just nothing good coming at you weather-wise. And then Friday, when you wake up, not only do you have an awesome calendar on your work schedule, but you wake up, the sun is out already. It's just beautiful. You got a lot of rest. You even wake up with your alarm. This is going to be a kick-ass Friday when you get to work and just absolutely, completely, and categorically sucks. Like it just the type of Friday you just question if you even want to work at all. Like you're just literally walking past homeless people like, I can kind of see their point. Like it's just really that kind of bad Friday. And then
been there. Yep.
Right? Yeah. I think we all have, right? And then you get in your car and you only live 10 minutes away. But for whatever reason, you're now stuck in traffic after you left work, not at 5, which you normally would do on a regular schedule, but you left work at like 6 or 7 because work was that shitty. And you get in your car and it's just nothing but traffic. You live 10 minutes away and you got an hour to wait because traffic is that bad. You sit in traffic for an hour when you live 10 minutes away. This Friday absolutely just got turned on its head, and so you're waiting for it to end. But you're looking forward to dinner with maybe that loved one Friday night at your favorite restaurant. This is what you're holding on to. This is what you're hoping for. This is the thing that buoyed you throughout the ocean and abyss of shit that you just sat through in your entire Friday. And you do nothing but hold on to that moment because you know it's coming. You can't wait to get to that restaurant. It's your favorite restaurant. It never messes up your cocktails. You always get the good seat where you can see part of the game going on, but also not like all the crowd and all this other shit. The restaurant staff knows you well, so you get the hookup here and there. Go ahead, Josh.
So you're saying Ken's Steakhouse is what you're saying?
Maybe for you, not so much for me. Look it up, people. So anyway, I'm actually telling you the truth. So, but whatever that restaurant is from whomever is in this situation. So you get to that restaurant with your loved one. You're finally sitting down and it's so awesome, right? It's just so good. Like you just immediately, all of that stress just leaves you as soon as you sit in that seat. It doesn't even have to be your seat, just somewhere in the restaurant. You're just happy, right? So you sit down and you get to the menu. And again, this is your restaurant. So most likely you got a couple items on there, maybe 1 or 2. If you're adventurous, maybe 3 of your favorite things that are always gonna hit. Even when they kind of suck, they still kind of hit. It being bad is gonna be like 6 out of 10. Now you may be thinking that's not very high, but for anyone who goes to restaurants a lot, anything you can bank on that's gonna be a 6 out of 10, it's kind of a good item. Like you're really holding on to that. You pay attention to that because as restaurants are one to do, because we're all human. Things can get messed up. Sometimes those dishes that you see on the edge of the menu, and they like to talk about it, but you maybe got burned a few times on that dish, and you're not trying to mess with that. But you got those 1, 2, maybe 3 items on the menu that you can always go to, always going to make your experience pretty good. That is DC Comics. That is DC movies. That is the whole situation in a nutshell. They will always give you that one sort of meal that you can count on, and it's going to basically kind of scratch most itches you have. It'll most likely get you to 6 or 7. Most likely never an 8 or a 9. Every once in a while, maybe if like all the stars align, you might get to that 9. Ain't ever going to be a 10, but not going to be a 5, right? So it's easy to bank on, and you grow accustomed to it. You value it, and you get solace from. After that shitty ass day that I just illustrated for you, that this is something you can bank on. Not your shitty ass work schedule that went out the goddamn door. Not your fucking commute that got crushed 20 minutes into a 10-minute ride that you're now facing out 40 more minutes. All these things got crushed, but you can count on that one meal or that 1 or 2 menu items that gonna do at least 6 or 7. Why is that important? Because Marvel's the special menu items. Marvel's on that little piece of paper that they slide to you after you sit down and you've already kind of looked at things. Marvel is the special for the day or for the week or whatever. They are the special. They are the menu special items. And why is that the case? Because like a lot of menu special items, it doesn't always land. Matter of fact, I would argue if you go out to eat a decent amount of time, when you eat from the specials all the time, you're most likely going to have, on average, not a good experience. Why? Some restaurants subscribe to the idea that they're just getting shit out. Like, matter of fact, people who work in restaurants are quick to point out, you can kind of figure out what you're looking at and what you're about to eat depending on when you're at a restaurant and when that menu item special is kicking up. Because what tends to happen is some sort of produce that they had an abundance of or got because someone else had an abundance of, and they're trying to get out before that shit is so rank and stank that they can't even give it to wild animals behind their restaurant. So they are trying to get to that. Same thing with like produce. It doesn't really matter. Or it could be something like where you at a restaurant and they are experimental. They're kind of known to like have a standard menu, but then they'll take certain things, whether it's seasonal or whatever, and they'll take shots. They'll go after it. They will literally try whatever they can think of because they want to be creative, but they also want to try to give you a different experience. And they also want to sometimes give you maybe the same produce and protein that you've been eating, but from a wildly different angle. They want to absolutely push the needle for you. They want to expand your horizons, your thought process. They want to make it exciting. And that's what Marvel always tends to be. It can easily get to that 10 because they're willing to take so many different chances and risk and be wild and use a lot of different parts that we already know and understand and care about and really turn it on its head. Or it can basically absolutely fucking miss the mark, be absolutely horrible. The type of stuff that you look at that menu, that special menu, the next time, like, don't give me that. Don't ever give me that, because that was some of the worst stuff I've ever had. Greg has categorized or chronicled many of the Marvel low specials on the menu that we've come across. We've covered well back in the early part of the TSG days, the monster era of Marvel. We can argue that was probably on the lower side, but then we just talked about some of the times where Marvel really takes a shot, really goes after it, and really creates an experience that we can argue is 8, 9, or even a 10. I mean, while Josh was talking, I was talking about X-Force, X-Factor, Excalibur. All those are basically spinoffs of basically X-Men, but they create such an awesome sort of experience that low comic book readers like myself will always remember that above almost all DC properties. Why? Because, again, they were willing to take so many different chances and get out there and try. And frankly, the movies fall under the same category. A lot of the DC movies tend to be relatively, decent, relatively entertaining. You're most likely not going to have a bad time. However, the Marvel movies, as we can go by just the ticket sales alone of the last 20 years, have no problem shooting their shot, and they will miss sometimes. I think a lot of people will be pointing to movies like The Eternals to point out where they can miss.
That was just what I was thinking of. Yep.
Or they can do things like get you $1 billion off of one movie because, again, they're special.
Rashawn, I got to tell you, that was one of the best analogies I've ever heard you make. That was fantastic. You got me hungry. I'm thinking about my restaurant. I'm thinking about my usual Friday night order in choice as DC, and I'm thinking about the restaurant where Mrs. Fink and I go to on occasion for our date nights, and they are seasonal, and that's where you take those shots in the restaurant. That was fantastic, man. I got a huge old smile on my face. I absolutely love that. The only thing only thing extra I had to add was just thinking about when you're talking about the monsters phase that Kitty Pryde, as I mentioned, was Jewish, and she has a Star of David around her neck, and that repelled Dracula. And I just thought that was cool as a kid. I'm like, okay, all right,
Still works.
It still works. It was just a point,
I don't mean like everything in the monster sort of genre was bad, but most of it. So like, if you see the same sort of special get called different things, but you kind of look at the ingredients like, I know what this movie is. I've read this comic book. You ain't gonna get me this time. And sometimes, depending on who's cooking it, right? Like, so the monster genre part of Marvel, it did come down to who was writing it. It did come down to like who was actually what the story was trying to, what story was trying to get out. And frankly, because we're talking about comics, had a lot to do with who was the illustrator. Right. If your illustrator was the D-League guy in Marvel, you might be up against it. Although that might be the guy who's going to take a shot because he's not protecting the name. Similar to like special menu items, like they don't have to worry about the reputation. One quick thing about something you said that I did my best to put at the back of my brain so I can give you everything I just said and not get caught off on what I normally do, which is responding to what you guys say. You do forget that Tony Stark was against the man until he wasn't. He was against registration until he wasn't. There wasn't a time Magneto was like, actually, no, let's go ahead and tag some of these fucking mutants. Tony, however, was like, I gotta tell you, hang out with some of these guys. Yeah, let's go ahead and put a few of them on the list.
That's well, I think that's a valid point. And that just goes to depth of character and complexity. So I loved it, though. I loving it. Greg, what's your thoughts, man?
I agree. I think it's a good analogy. I think it's really forgiving. Because it makes them seem like more of a creative force than just the cash engine that Disney is trying to make them out to be.
Wait, Marvel or comics or DC?
Mostly just Marvel. Yeah. But I like the idea. And I used to work in restaurants, so I might be a little prejudiced. I used to work in restaurants.
All right. I think that's fair. I think that is very fair. Well, with that, we're going to step on up for you, Gregory. I saved you. I put you in the cleanup spot. I wanted to get your thoughts as you are, like us, a huge comic book fan and an artist. So I was really looking forward to getting your take on the showdown.
And why Jim Lee was the best Marvel illustrator.
Let's get ready to rumble. Everybody knows it was Chris. Everyone knows it was Chris Claremont who saved the X-Men. And Mobius is the best Silver Surfer, but we know that. But as opposed to the Kirby Silver Surfer, come on. I mean, it's not even a Jack Kirby. It's not even a contest. I know he started the label, but let's be honest. That was settled in Crimson Tide. Okay. That was settled by Denzel Washington.
So yeah.
Start talking about horses next.
So yeah, I'm gonna take it from like comics before we get to it, because I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go head to head on what I think are the major things that DC and Marvel do in general. So I'm gonna start off with the comics, and I'm going to pick a winner, and I'm gonna pick a winner in each one, and I'll tell you why. So I'm going to start with the comics. I think DC wins. I think DC overall, it's not just because it's older. I think it's a couple of reasons. One, all the greatest artists, all the greatest writers have worked for both companies at this point. So they've made a name for themselves in both companies. The thing that I like the most about DC, less massive crossover events. Like, you can't have that many events. People are honestly tired of all of Marvel's big universe changing, universe endangering events. You're just not allowed to do it that many times. And DC, I appreciate the fact that they had less teams. Like, there was a time when the defenders would just be like any random ass people that they would just throw together. They had the Avengers, the West Coast Avengers. They had two different kinds of X-Men. They had a couple different kinds of New Mutants. It was just too much and just throwing it all at you. And what ended up happening was you just didn't care about the conflict as much. Like, honestly, it took Civil War to make you care about conflict again in Marvel, and then it kind of went away again. And then it kind of came back with what's happening now with the X-Men. But even now with the X-Men, with what's happening with Mr. Sinister, is also going overboard again. Like, DC just on Superman and Flashpoint could just live on those two things. And they do a lot of, interdimensional time space shit that also makes you not care about the conflict as much, but they do a lot less. So I'm going to go with DC when it comes to comics, which is probably the biggest win. Next, I'm going to do shows. I'm going to do DC again. I mean, I'm sorry, but I think this one is decisive because animated shows and animated movies, actually, but animated shows, DC hands down. Again, on the strength of Batman, the animated series, Superman, the animated series, and Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. Like, those were quintessential depictions of all of those characters. Like, they just nailed it and were able to throw in so many storylines from the comic books, and they're just better. I mean, Marvel, true indeed, they have the old Spider-Man show. They've got Avengers, World's Mightiest Heroes. They had obviously classic X-Men, Wolverine and the X-Men, but none of them hit quite like Batman, and especially Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. And then live action shows, I mean, from Smallville, 1960s Batman to Smallville to Flash and Green Arrow, the Arrowverse, they crushed it. I mean, I know DC is
Flash.
What's that?
Which Flash show?
Yeah, that's always the question.
Actually, you know what? Both of them.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
I like that Flash show. I even liked Wonder Woman. Yeah, see, like, it's just so much.
Don't forget about Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, that was an embarrassment.
You're like, yeah,
no one cared about that Spider-Man show. And I mean, you're thinking about live action Marvel, you're really talking about what's happening on Disney right now, which is hit, mostly miss. So no one. So DC, I'm going to definitely give that one to DC again. So DC is doing pretty well in my book. Then I'm going to say toys, the action figures. I got to say DC again. Because DC, unlike Marvel is really sticking to that, kid genre in which action figures are for adults, toys are for kids, and Marvel sticks with toys, which is, smart. I totally get it. But DC does everything from the overpriced action figures for adults, and they still do everything for, Lego Batman and Superman. Like, they do the whole gambit. And I think most people will tell you, like, especially the Batman figures are pretty damn badass. So I have to say DC is winning in that arena too. And then games. Again, DC, on the strength of the Arkham series alone. I mean, it changed gameplay. Like, the Arkham series, even if you don't put it in the category of other superhero games, still one of the best. And then obviously there's the fighting game series, and actually there was a fighting crossover game with Mortal Kombat, but most people don't talk about that. For Marvel, there was Marvel versus Capcom, and there was Marvel Superheroes. I think Marvel versus Capcom, there were 3 of them. And then there's the Midnight Suns and other smaller, not like RPGs, but I forgot what they're called, but like open world games. Yeah. And they're okay. But like I said, on the strength of Arkham by itself, DC takes that. So now it sounds like I'm being, just way too damn DC. It comes around to the movies. DC movies are a shit show. A blessed shit show in some cases, a good shit show in some cases, but a shit show nonetheless. Only reason I give them a little bit of a thumbs up is because they're not being totally Disney-fied. I know they're trying to pick up on some of the trends that started with the Marvel movies, but they're still doing their own thing. You know what I mean? The Joker films still feel like their own thing. They don't feel like they're in any sort of Batman universe. Please stop trying. But they feel like their own thing. They feel like a good piece of film making. Whereas the Marvel movies, they get criticized for being say again?
Said Taxi Driver sequel.
That's all I was thinking.
Totally. Yeah.
All that was missing was Martin Scorsese talking about what a 44 Magnum will do to a woman's vagina. That was all that was missing in that movie. That's all I was missing.
And there was room for that. That's what I'm saying. Like they Marvel absolutely nailed the formula, and DC, they're still trying to figure out their formula. Like the Batman, probably one of my least favorite Batman versions of Batman. The Suicide Squad was a thing. I don't know. It was funny. It was hilarious. I thought it was kind of funny. Like,
wait, which one?
Well, there was Suicide Squad, then the
Suicide Squad, the definitive. Yes.
Yeah. I think I like the Suicide Squad better.
That's the better one because they lean the fuck
like
into
the
it.
Suicide Squad better.
They definitely lean into it.
Yeah.
They knew it was a shit show, and they absolutely went with that. Pete Davidson, for fuck's sake. Yeah. I mean, just they
all
leaned
2
into
minutes.
that shit. Yeah, exactly.
And, I mean, the Marvel movies, beyond that, it's a massive cinematic achievement, like to have that many movies, that many superstars all tied into one storyline. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's why, in a way, it's really hard for them to kind of follow it up with the rise of the sidekicks, what's happening right now. Like, the age of the D-leaguers, I should say. Like, that's why it's really tough, because even in all of those movies, you wrapped it up. And for the most part, they were really good. I can only think of one or two that were genuinely awful, but they were all good to amazing. So Marvel definitely wins that one category in my eyes. The other 4, I got to give them to DC. I got to give toys, shows, comics, and games to DC, but movies, which is kind of all you need, even if they're Disney-fied, they were amazing.
All right, that's one.
Yeah, man, how'd you feel about the apparel?
I know, right? We can do t-shirts.
Talk to me about the snacks.
kids costumes.
I gotta say, I never thought I'd see you side with the man, Greg. But yet here we are. Like, you sided with the establishment, with DC, telling you, keep yourself together, show up on time, wash behind your ears.
As opposed to Mickey the Kraken?
I was about to say, what did we just talk about?
Hey, all I know is that
talked about this.
There was a time before Marvel got absorbed. Okay, it's not their fault that they waved $1 billion check under there. I mean, come on, it's $1 billion.
You got near bankruptcy about 3 times to position yourself for Disney, which is the part of the story that none of us are talking about. Or the part of the story where they had a massive strike across all the comics in the 90s, which led to some of the side comics that create awesome characters. Like I was joking about Image, but that's just one of the many sort of side branches of comic content creators that, because of the dalliances and the complete failures of both DC and Marvel. However, Marvel, way worse. Way worse. Their failures for like 30 straight years. Where
if
it wasn't for X-Men,
Alan Moore hates life right now. I mean, just for the fact that Alan Moore wouldn't have a home at DC Marvel at all.
If
it wasn't for X-Men, Marvel may not have even made it out in the 90s.
Thank you, Chris Claremont, going back to that. And Got to give a shout out to Dark Horse because they were
Dark
holding
Horse,
it on
that's
there.
the other
They
one,
were,
yep.
they were holding that,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know, some of
I
those
could have gone
labels
like
that-
I was trying to keep it tight, but I didn't even bring up Frank Miller. I didn't even bring up
who definitely redefines DC. And here's the one thing I'm going to give to DC: when they go dark, they go fucking dark. Okay, that Joker, Jason Todd subplot kind of that's been done. I mean, it's been done 18 ways to Sunday now, but Jesus Christ, man, he tortured him in Arkham for how many months? Doing God knows what.
Well, it was the Killing Joke.
Yes,
that was one of the worst, and then there was.
I was about to say I did not like that,
and that's another thing they do really well too. Standalone graphic novels.
Yes,
like they do that really well, and that's where most of like some of their most memorable stories come from. Like I'm sorry, DC, DC.
All right,
Marvel, as we know, is killing it with the movies, and they are hot and super popular right now. And just the Justice League movies. Oh, wow.
Oh, well. Yeah. Shazam gave me a couple laughs. I'm not gonna lie.
Which one?
The first one.
I liked the first one. I thought it was a really good movie.
It was cute. It was good.
Yeah.
It was well done, and I liked the way the main character plays a 12-year-old without making him seem, I don't know, just like an 8-year-old. Really, like a lot of I still to this day can't stand Tom Hanks's performance in Big. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The kid's age, he just doesn't know. They don't act like that. It's crazy.
Alternate theory. That was the range of Tom Hanks's acting ability during that time. We all forget Bosom Buddies Tom Hanks and all the movies that came directly after that. Like he literally was the same guy from The Burbs. Same guy from what was it, Money Pit?
May not make for an interesting show, but you're not going to get a lot of argument from me on that, right? That it just wasn't that dynamic.
We're not talking Cloud Atlas. I'm an Asian. Tom Hanks. We're not talking about.
Did they make Tom? I don't know if they made Tom Hanks Asian in that.
Technically, everyone was in one time period.
Really?
That was the plot point.
Keith David Asian was
no, that was the plot point. Like basically, China sort of took over in that sort of version of like the evolution.
A little like Firefly. It was a little like Firefly, where they would occasionally drop apparently Cantonese swears that none of us understood, but I like that a lot. All right, well, this is what we get here. We bring it in here. We see what makes the horse races. We bring it to the council, and well, maybe we haven't settled the showdown, but we had the showdown. We had the showdown between DC and Marvel. Guys, gals, all of you out there listening, kids, all of you, go out, support your local comic book and your graphic novel artists. Don't sleep on Scout. That was a short run. Great title. Absolutely loved it. Don't sleep on Mage. Another one. These are both off-label, neither Marvel nor DC. So these were some of the lesser known ones, but we're gonna gavel this meeting to a close. I'm gonna check in. Gregory, what you got going on for the rest of the day here?
The rest of today.
Today, the week, the month, the year.
Literally, 2 to 3 more hours to talk shit about the Lakers before the Celtics go and do the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's been a little rough in Celtics.
I got 1,000 legs in LA. You can toss that shit in. Go ahead.
Yeah. Jack, I'll send you a picture of Jack Nicholson sitting courtside. But
oh my
that
God,
was a good.
I've seen
good.
It.
Yeah. Actually, it was giving him praise. It was basically just saying he's earned the right. So too bad. Like he gets to be because he's Jack motherfucking Nicholson. That's why. He gets to do that. So
he looks like the guy who gets kicked out of strip clubs for coming in all the time with sweats.
He is the guy who gets kicked out of Swiss strip clubs.
I was going to say it's his strip joint.
It's his. Yes.
So he's not getting kicked out. I'm saying he looks like the guy who gets kicked. Normal circumstances, not when.
I own the place, right? Fair enough. I'm Jack. All right. Well, Rashawn, what you got going on for us the day, week, month, year? How you doing here? What? Talk to me.
First, shout out to the people who follow the gospel of Jack Nicholson being the best Joker. I see you. I'm with you. We are family. We are one. We are Joker. Second, I want to give a little bit of advice to DC. Stop trying so fucking hard. Yeah, you can listen to Josh and you can go into that weird gritty shit. But guess what you end up doing when you do that? Like, I'm over here talking about how you guys are like normally a good 6 or 7, average out of 10. I don't know if that's good enough. And you guys look really bad when you try to chase. Greg's over here being nice about talking about things like Justice League. And when you show up and try to do movies like that, I'm gonna tell you right now, you look like a goddamn fool. Stop doing that. When you try and take chances and you do a little bit of let's follow the special items on the menu model, just spice it up a little bit, add a little bit. You get really cool properties like whatchamacallit, which is John Cena shit.
Peacemaker.
That shit was awesome. That was phenomenal. So you guys have the ability. You definitely have the content. Stop trying to chase Marvel and adding a gritty layer to it. Because that's all you guys been doing. You guys been showing up being Marvel, but we're grittier.
Ooh, yes, there we are. Ooh. Yes,
gritty, Superman killed Zod. Ooh,
like yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
No,
especially
meanwhile, the Avengers are killing people left and right.
I mean, like, how you gonna fuck up it's the fucking Justice League, and you blew it.
Yeah.
You blew it. Yeah,
like
twice.
The best that Justice League has right now, it has in the last like 10 years has been release the Snyder cut, which by the way sucked, and then also
twice you fucked it up. Twice,
and then also
you
like the weird sort of like cult following around the Martian Manhunter in the movie, where like he's not even actually in the movie. He's in the movie, but he's not really in the movie, and people have been hanging on to that shit. It's just so weird. Stop doing that.
All I know is you had Joss Whedon, who everybody hates now, and I can still watch Avengers, and no one wants to watch his cut of the Justice League, nor the Snyder cut. So there you go. All right, I'm gonna be frantically throwing things into boxes and trying to get my family ready to.
Martha built.
Yeah, trying to move on these. Trying to move from one domicile to another. We'll keep that train rolling in the meantime. Try to keep my kids on the old straight and narrow. And while we're talking about the straight and narrow and trying to work with the man, make sure you head on over. You follow us on the socials. Do you even Steam Bro at Instagram, the Steam Gentleman Podcast at Facebook, and the Steam G's on Twitter. We got a YouTube channel. We're there too. We're everywhere. God damn it. We are everywhere. We're doing everything we can as we're chasing that all elusive prepaid meal money. Okay. We're out there. We're trying to do that. We're trying to do, therapy that may or may not be held under the same ethical standards of, looking at you, BetterHelp, but we'll still do ads for you. That's okay. Any of that
stuff. Not our therapy.
It's not our therapy. Help us get out there. Help us get those ads. Help us get those sponsors. Head on over to Spotify. Head on over to Apple Podcasts. Rate, review. Help us climb the charts. We are here. We're here for your entertainment. We are here, of course, to ask the questions and to go and delve into the subjects in pop culture and social commentary that no one else dares to do. Till next time, this is Josh the Birdman telling you to keep your heat up and keep your head of steam on.